Recently, I was at an outside broadcast of ABC Illawarra at outside the IGA store at Milton, of all places, down here on the south coast. And one of the people they interviewed during it was Superintendent Mark Williams, and he's the district manager of the Shoalhaven RFS. Now, Mark was a public figure who publicly dealt and looked after the huge effort that the RFS put in to manage the Currahing fires that burnt for 74 days over the November, December and January period, and destroyed over 300 homes, and just a life-changing path for all of us. And currently at the moment we're feeling like it's been a little bit forgotten, but that's understandable considering the pandemic. Mark and I exchanged stories, and he understood what I did, and with the Webby Walks, and he agreed to come along and answer the 3 Webby Walks questions about activity, food, and his passion. So sit back and enjoy, and thank you, Mark, for spending that time. Great to get an insight into how you think and operate and how the RFS works in these incredible situations where they're called upon.
What's your activity level, Mark?
Fairly active. So a lot of the stuff that I do is road cycling, into biking. At the moment with the COVID, stuck on the home trainer at the moment on Zwifting and the likes of that. So it's all gone techno on me. But yeah, fairly into it. Love my bikes, love my high-end bikes. It's my passion, I guess, in that relation as far as fitness goes. That and surf skiing. So a lot of paddling as well. So.
Oh, I actually noticed when you walked up to me, you said, geez, Webby's legs are a bit skinny. A bit chicken.
You'd be a good hill climber, mate. So yeah. Those legs. So.
And food, your relationship with food.
Food loves me. I love food, but yeah, for 2 different reasons. So yeah, I love my food. I've got to watch what I eat. I'm one of these people that's got a fairly slow, normal metabolism, so I'm fairly careful with what I eat. But being an avid cyclist and doing 300-400 kilometres a week, I get a little bit of extra freedom with what goes in the gob. So yeah, I'm a little bit better. It's when I stop cycling and stop exercising for any period of time, then I've got to really watch about what I eat and the amount that I eat. So.
Yeah, it's 300 or 400 kilometres a week is what you're looking at?
On average, yeah. So depending on, obviously there's lay days and stuff like that in between, but usually about 300 or 400 Ks a week. So yeah, a lot of hours, 10 hours on the bike a week at least. So.
And when do you find with that load up of extra activity that your level of food consumption just goes through the roof?
Not necessarily. It probably I allow it to go through there, so I get to enjoy a little bit of extra, cream on the pie at the end of the meal, or whatever it happens to be, and let myself go a bit more because I know I'm going to burn it off again with the exercise side of things. So, as I said, it's really when I stop exercising, if we have a week off or anything like that for letting the body recuperate, that's when I've got to sort of slow down the consumption and physically have to hold myself back.
Oh, yeah. I'm the same way. Recently, with all the bushfires and things, which you've got some amazing stories tied up with. But I found that period, especially the first 10 days after the fire, you comfort eat. People comfort eat. They get, and especially now with self-isolation, and I'd like to call it self-reflection now. There's a good mate of mine, Amanda Lamont, said, you got to be careful what you eat in these periods of time. And I did a video just recently talking about what you drink as well, alcohol-wise.
It's very easy when you're at home. Working from home for me now, there's that extra level because I've got a pantry full of food. When I go to work, I usually take my lunch. If I don't take my lunch, I don't eat, or vice versa. But when I'm at home, I've really got to watch, the ability just to take a step to the fridge and grab what I want and just keep eating and not realise what we're actually up to. And it's the same with the drinking side of things. So everything in moderation, as I think you keep saying.
That's it.
And that's what we've just got to keep focusing on. But yeah, it is an issue. During our fire situations, we go in into I won't say a lockdown procedure, but we're operating 24/7. We have, through the incident management teams, catering provided. Lots of people will bring in, sugar-laden lollies and cakes and drinks and stuff like that. So again, working 7 to 14-hour days, you just wander past these sort of things, and the temptation is there, just grab an extra lolly and just shove it down the gullet. So we've really got to start watching what we eat and have some healthy options there as well.
Yeah, it must be that much. I used to see that actually, and I'd see the fabulous army of support of men and women who were preparing food, who were bringing in food for you guys, and I would glance at it and go, "Oh, there's a ton of sugar in there. There's a ton of white bread. There's a ton of flour. There's a ton of..."
Which is really good for the guys that are out on the fire line actually sweating their ass off. But that's great. But for the people like me that are sitting behind a desk or, just talking on the radio and the likes of that, I don't need that sort of same consumption. So
and that's the trouble. Most of the majority of people out there, don't understand what we're putting in our body as opposed to how much. You can... it's such an education process. Part of the Webby Walk's trying to educate people about what they put in their body as opposed to how much. I'm not worried about how much, because you burn it up, you do this, and you eat the right food, and it won't affect you as much. But that's a great point. Great point you bring up, Mark. Now, the third and final question is your passion. What's your passion? What makes Mark Williams really get excited or tick?
This is probably the hardest question, mate, because I really don't just have one. So I am very passionate about my job. I'm really passionate about being able to be in an emergency service and being the best that I possibly can be to do my job for everybody from our own organisation to the community which we serve. So that is probably my professional passion. My personal passion has got to be my fitness and my family. So and trying to meld those two together. So having again, it's like the food, having that balancing, being able to be there for your family and with your family, and encourage them to be into the fitness side of things, whilst also being able to do my own activities. So it's a balancing thing, but that's certainly my passion. If somebody gives me a challenge on the bike or something like that, I'm up for it. So, but then got to try and make that work with the family as well.
Yes.